The leaves had begun to fall, dry and brittle, scratching against the ground like whispers of the dead. Every October, Raven Hollow Cemetery looked the same, mist curling around the tombstones, air thick with the smell of cold earth. But this year, something felt different. Liam worked as the new night caretaker. It was his first week on the job. He thought it would be quiet, maybe even boring, just him, a flashlight, and the rows of forgotten graves. The old caretaker had warned him before leaving. If you hear knocking from the ground, don't answer. He laughed it off. Who wouldn't? It sounded like a ghost story made to scare rookies. The first few nights were calm, but on October 29th, the sky refused to clear. The fog was so thick that the cemetery lights glowed like dying stars. Around midnight, Liam heard something, a faint tap 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 echoing from somewhere near the old crypt. At first, he thought it was rain, but when he aimed his flashlight, the sound came again, rhythmic, slow, deliberate, knock, knock, knock. From the ground, Liam's heart thudded. He followed the sound through the rows of graves until he reached one old, cracked headstone. The name was worn off by time, but something about it felt wrong. The soil looked freshly disturbed. The knocking grew louder. Against every ounce of logic, Liam kneeled and brushed away the loose dirt. Then, silence. Nothing. He leaned closer, holding his breath. That's when a muffled voice came from below. "Please, help me." He froze. The voice was faint, desperate, like someone buried alive. Panic surged through him. He grabbed a shovel and began digging. Every scoop of dirt made the voice clearer. "Hurry," it pleaded. "I can't breathe." When the shovel hit wood, Liam's hands trembled. He brushed off the remaining soil and found an old coffin. Its lid was sealed with iron nails, but it was moving, shaking from the inside. "Hold on," he shouted, prying the nails loose. The coffin stopped. Moving, silence. Then a sudden thud from inside that made him jump back. The lid slowly creaked open on its own. Inside was no one, just a black void, deep and endless. The air grew heavy, pulling him forward. A cold wind spiraled out from the coffin, whispering his name. Liam. He stumbled back, but his feet wouldn't move. Shadows crawled from the open box, twisting and writhing until they formed a tall, faceless shape. It tilted its head, almost curious, before whispering in a voice that wasn't human. "Thank you for letting me out." The lanterns around the cemetery flickered out, one by one. Liam ran, but the fog followed, thickening around him. Behind him, the coffin lid slammed shut with a sound that echoed across the graves. When the sun rose the next morning, the caretaker's office was empty. Only his flashlight lay on the ground, still on, facing the old grave. And the headstone, once blank, now had a name carved into it. Liam Parker. Buried October 31st. The wind carried a strange chill that night, sharper, quieter than usual. It was October 31st, and the moon hung low over the small town of Halewood, bathing the empty streets in silver light. Everything looked peaceful, but silence here was never a good sign. Emma had just moved into the old Willow Street house, a narrow, two-story home that hadn't been rented in years. Locals said it stayed empty for a reason. She laughed it off, thinking it was just another ghost story. That was before the whispers started. The first time she heard them, it was past midnight. She was unpacking boxes in the living room when a soft voice came from upstairs, faint, almost like someone exhaling words. "Help me." Emma froze. The floor above her creaked, but she was alone. She tried to convince herself it was the wind, but the whisper came again, this time closer. "Don't go upstairs." Her heart pounded. Every instinct told her to leave the house, yet something drew her to the staircase. Each step moaned under her feet as she climbed, flashlight trembling in her hand. The whisper now came from the end of the hall, near the guest bedroom. The door was slightly open, moving gently as if someone had just walked in. Inside, the air was cold enough to see her breath. Dust floated in the faint moonlight, seeping through the window. Then she noticed something strange. Children's drawings pinned to the walls. They were old, crumpled, drawn with red and black crayon. A tall, faceless figure. A little girl crying. A house exactly like hers. Emma's hand shook as she touched one of the drawings. The moment her fingers brushed it, a whisper hissed right beside her ear. This time, clear as day. He's still in the walls. The flashlight flickered violently. The wallpaper on the far side of the room began to ripple, as though something was moving behind it. Then a faint thud. Another. The wall pulsed. From inside came a slow, dragging sound, closer and closer to the surface. Emma stumbled backward, but before she could run, a hand burst through the wallpaper, pale, bony, reaching. It clawed the air just inches from her face. The whisper turned into a breathless laugh. She dropped the flashlight and bolted down the hall, heart racing, screams echoing behind her. When she reached the front door, it wouldn't open. Every lock twisted itself shut. Behind her, the whisper returned. Low, almost taunting now. You heard us. Now you stay. The lights went out. The entire house fell into blackness. The last thing anyone heard that night was Emma's voice, faint, distant whispering from inside the walls. Now, every October, neighbors claim to hear her voice again, repeating the same words she once ignored. Don't go upstairs. Like what you just heard. Remember the walls. Listen to. So whisper back, like and subscribe. Locals say the knocking still happens every October night, but now it's louder. And if you listen closely, there's a second knock that answers back. If you ever walk past Raven Hollow Cemetery, don't stop when you hear it. Just keep walking. And remember to like and subscribe before the ground knocks for you next.